Isn't it interesting? The moment you decide you're done, the moment you are emotionally checked out, the moment that you start detaching, his behavior changes. You are now asking yourself, why is he doing everything that I asked him to do now that I no longer want the relationship? Now he's being consistent. Now he's communicating. Now he's planning dates. Now he wants to go to church with you. He wants to meet with the pastor. He wants to do the therapy that you've been asking him to do for years. Now he wants to be more involved with the children and take them to the recital and take them to practice, and you are confused. Or now he wants to move the relationship to the two of you being exclusive, or he's ready to talk about marriage seriously. And you're sitting like, where was this the whole time? Where was this energy when I was crying, when I was confused, when I was doing all of the emotional, physical labor on my own? Where was this energy? So let's talk about why this happens, because it's not random. I want to talk about 3 reasons why his behavior changes sometimes when it's too late. If you're new here, welcome to Heal the New Sex, where we discuss all things healing, self-love, and relationships. My name is Cynthia. I am a licensed therapist and coach. And I want to talk about why that man behavior has changed now that you decided that you no longer want to be in the relationship, now that you have checked out, okay? So number 1, he could be manipulating you. There are some men that are going to call your bluff. One of the Heal Squad members commented on one of the videos. I think it was the video I titled Disrespect You Can't Come Back From, and I'll put it up here so that you can watch that video next. And she commented that the man that she was in a relationship told her, you're not going to leave. And sometimes the man that you're either dating or married to doesn't really think that you are going to leave. And so when he sees that you are emotionally detaching, becoming unbothered, doing whatever it is that you need to do to detach, now all of a sudden he kicks in his behavior and changes it into high gear. Why? Because he wants you to stay. The trap or the trick of this is that it can become a cycle where you're talking to him, you're telling him that things need to change. So he changes for a second, but he slides back into the old pattern. The point of him engaging in this behavior is only to keep you trapped and stuck in the relationship, because a man who really cares about you will adjust his behavior. But I'm going to say this to you as well. Sometimes in relationships, in our dating, we have to, not sometimes, let me preface it like this, especially for you girlies that are newly dating a man and you may see behaviors that you don't like. I want to ask you, because there's the saying that women marry men hoping that they'll change, men marry women hoping that they'll stay the same. I want to ask you, if his behavior didn't change, would you still be able to love him? If the answer is no, then you need to end that relationship. Don't get in a relationship with a man and then want to change him and fix him. We don't build a bay, okay? We don't build a bay. What we do is we accept people for who they are and we respect them. Now, are there compromises? There absolutely is. But a lot of girlies are getting into romantic relationships trying to change him and make him to be the man that you want him to be. And that's not fair to him and that's not fair to you, because both of y'all end up frustrated, okay? So let's talk about why this is manipulation. It's not always malicious or intentional, but it's built. He's doing this so that he can maintain his access to you. That's what it's about. A man will change his behavior in order to stay with you. There is some benefit of him being with you. You are beautiful. You are smart. You may be a positive influence in his life, and he wants to still maintain access. So he will change and he will adjust his behavior, but then he will get comfortable. We all do that. Y'all ever gone on a diet and you were super strict on your exercise and eating, and then you lost a few pounds and then you reverted back to them old habits? I know you have. This man senses, that he is losing access to you. Your energy has changed. You're no longer chasing, explaining, or overextending yourself. So now he performs. He gives you just enough of what you've been asking for, hoping that it pulls you back emotionally. One thing that I was talking to a client yesterday, and I was telling her, men do a very good job at selling themselves. Men are fantastic at being able to interview as it relates to dating. A man could be in an unhealthy relationship. You can hear rumors about him, and then before you know it, he's in a new relationship. Why? Because many men have talk game. And so this man knows you. He knows what he needs to do in order to pull you in emotionally. And so his changing his behavior is to get you to stay. So he has access to you. Okay. And this is the thing. Consistency that only shows up when you're leaving is not consistency, it's strategy. How come now that you've decided to leave, he can pick his drawers up and put them in the hamper, but before he would leave his drawers on the floor, and you are always fussing at him because it's laundry day, and now he leaves his underwear on the floor. But now that you decided, guess what, I'm about to leave here, you keep leaving them drawers there, and he wake up one morning and he ain't got no clean pair of underwear. Now he want to clean up after himself because he's realized, listen, she's not accepting this. How come that you have been begging him for more date nights, and then he's telling you no, he doesn't have time? Meanwhile, you see him going out and spending time with his friends. And so now you start taking yourself out on dates. Now you're getting dolled up and dressed up. You're getting real cute. Where are you going? Oh, I'm going out. Now he wants to take you on the dates, and he wants to take you to all the places that you've been asking him to take you. How come now he, instead of going to the gym after work, he comes home to make sure that the children are now bathed in bed, and you no longer have to do that? Because you started being quiet, you stopped complaining, and you started emotionally detaching. And he's picked it up, right? Number two, this was quite possible. He's actually changed. He may have genuinely changed. Sometimes it takes the real possibility of losing you for things to click. He may now understand, oh, this is what it takes to be in a relationship with her. I remember Bishop R.C. Blake's telling his wife that he didn't want a relationship, that he didn't want to get married, and he told her to go on. And he talks about how his wife was dating somebody else, and he was like, okay, hold up, come back. I'm gonna do, if marriage is what you want, I'm paraphrasing, if marriage is what you want, then that's what we'll do. I remember Tony Gaskins talking about when he first met his wife, and he was being very controlling, and she told him, listen, I can't do this, and I won't do this. And then what happened? He changed. Why? Because he understood, this is what I have to do in order to be with her. I have to treat her with respect and kindness, and I have to trust her. Okay. So this man, the threat of you leaving is actually a wake-up call for him. He understands that he has to respect your boundaries. He has to respect your non-negotiables. He has to respect your standards. He understands that when you communicate with him, the things that you desire and also the things that may be opportunities to improve the relationship, that you are serious about those things and you are serious about yourself. So you're willing to lose the relationship. He understands now that you are willing to choose yourself over him. And just because you love him doesn't mean that you will sacrifice yourself for him. And hear what happens, right? When you make the decision. Change isn't proven in a moment, it's proven over time. Anybody can rise to the occasion temporarily, but this man shows up consistently. See, the first man is not showing up consistently. He's using it as a strategy. And as soon as he feels like you are comfortable, then he goes back to his old ways. Then he goes back to spending the night out, right? Then he goes back to hanging out with his friends who cheat on their girlfriends or their wives. Then he goes to spending money and not telling you where he's spending the money and being short when it's time for rent. See, he changed only for a period of time to get you emotionally hooked so that you can stay in the relationship. This man knows that if he doesn't keep it together, that there is a true risk that you will leave. And because he cares about you, not just loves you, but because he cares about you, he's willing to adjust his behavior. And not only that, he doesn't want to hurt you. He understands the value and the worth of who you are. He doesn't want to cause pain or anxiety or distress to you. So he's willing to adjust his behavior, not just to have access to you, but because he genuinely cares for you. All right. And let's talk about the third one. The reason why this man is changing now that you have kind of checked out of the relationship is that because you changed. And this one is the most important. When you started detaching, when you started overgiving, when you started shifting the energy from the relationship to yourself, he didn't respond to your words before. Now he's responding to your boundaries. Because let's be real as ladies, we can talk. We be crying and snotting. Why don't you love me? Why don't you treat me like this? Why don't you do this? I remember years ago when I was with my son's father, he had changed his work schedule to work the first shift so that the conversation was for him to work an earlier shift versus overnight so that he could be home, we could spend more time together as a family, and he could be there to care for his son. And it went from him being home to now he wanted to go to the gym and hang out with his friends. And so he wasn't coming home till after everything was done. I was working a full-time job in a contract. I had picked our son up. I had fed our son. Our son had a shower. Almost time for bedtime because he was a toddler at the time. And I remember talking to him like, listen, this is the purpose of you having a different shift is so that you could be home with us and so that we could, take care of the things of the home. And it's going in one ear and not the other. And I realized, one, it's intentional for him to come home at that time. Why? He doesn't have to cook. He doesn't have to wash dishes. He doesn't have to tend for our son. He gets to go to work, have a good time at work. He gets to go play basketball with his boys, go to the gym, work out, kick it with them, and then he comes home, right? Then now you're coming home, you want a hot plate and some hot. And I was like, I'm not that lady. I need care too. And sometimes when a man sees that you're changing, not just you're changing physically, but you decided to go back to school because you want to increase your income, because maybe you're in a relationship where you can't afford to leave it, or he thought. And so you said, you know what? I'm going to go for the promotion. I'm going to apply and see if I can get the promotion. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to start saving money. I'm going to divide our resources. I'm telling him as it relates to our household funds, these are the things that you need to do. I found a babysitter to take care of the kids so that I can go to school, so that I can work extra hours. So he's seeing that you are beginning to build a life outside of him. And we have to be honest, because sometimes men don't really believe that you're going to do the things that you say you're going to do, because there are a lot of women who don't stand on their word. But you're different. Okay. So he starts responding to your boundaries. Sometimes people don't take us seriously until we start moving differently. You may have even started going to different apartments. You told him, when this lease is up, I'm out. And you may have moved out. And he's like, okay, wait a minute. Whoa. This is not what I thought. I thought that we would always be together. And you're saying, no, if you aren't going to handle me with care, then you are not going to have access to me. So all of a sudden, guess what he does? He begins to change. He's now rising to meet the version of you that no longer tolerates what you used to. Now, this is something I want you to understand in relationships and dynamics like this. I think first, and it depends on when you got in the relationship, the type of woman you were as it relates to when you first started dating, because sometimes you can start a relationship, then you could go on a healing journey, and then you could become a brand new woman and have different expectations. I really believe in relationships, it's so important that we communicate to each other. I believe that it's important that we are having open and honest conversation as it relates to our evolution, so that as our needs change, we can communicate it to each other. Your partner is going to have needs of you that may change, and you have to be open to that as well. But I want to say this. If you feel like this man is only doing this to keep you around, then you need to determine if you're willing to tolerate this level of treatment. I don't believe that we should be in relationships in which we're frustrated. I don't believe we should be in relationships in which we're manipulated. That he only changes because he sees that we are changing, and he's doing it just to keep us around. Okay. There was a young lady who commented that, I forget what video it was on, and she was like, his actions are, because I always tell you to believe a man's actions over his words. And so she was like, she was saying, he's saying we're not together, but his actions are saying something different, which tells me that this type of man is sucking up her physical space and now allowing her to move on. The minute I believe this girly starts moving differently, he will say out of his mouth that we are together. But it shouldn't be that way. He's only saying that to keep access to her. You understand what I'm saying? All right. So if you've ever encountered this situation, I want to hear from you down below. Also, don't forget, we have the group chat series. If you have a question that you would like to ask me, you can email me at groupchathtns@gmail.com, and it will be featured in one of the videos for the group chat series. This is Heal the New Sexy. My name is Smithia.